So here we are with the third and final part. Now, this is going to be called the PlayStation 1 because that's what it is. And we go way back to the mid-90s with the launch of the original PlayStation. Now again, this is old ground for people that have watched my previous videos. But in this era, I was starting to lose a bit of interest. A previous video I was saying, with the Amiga, I loved it, but I was kind of a bit knocked over the lack of backward compatibility and also the fact that I'd already dipped my toe into the 16-bit pond. I was playing on the Amiga 1200 a bit in this period and experiencing some of the first-person shooters that the Amiga 1200 was trying to run. A couple of them games, one of them was Gloom, which was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. It ripped sound off from Jurassic Park and Aliens, which was funny. I guess you could get away with it back then. And also, it ran okay on and out of the box Amiga 1200. The other one I had was Fears. That didn't run okay on and out of the box Amiga 1200. It was a good game, but I had to run it with a postage stamp size window. And the other one was Alien Breed 3D, which sort of sat in the middle of the two of them on the performance scale. But the Amiga 1200 really was not, it was never going to be able to run Doom properly. So at that time it just seemed that, still playing on the Mega Drive. I had the 32X, as you know, but I was just starting to get a little bit bored. Things were a bit samey. I was trying to change it up and what have you, but it was just the nature of things with those systems. They had limitations, and software companies were only delivering certain experiences as well. The Sega Saturn come out, and being a Sega person, the natural order of things would have been for me to have got the Saturn. That was the replacement for the Mega Drive. It was a proper 32-bit console, unlike the Mega Drive's the 32X's twin 16-bit. So that seemed to be the thing. And I remember going into this store near where I worked at the time, and they had the Saturn up and it was showing Daytona. I thought, wow, that looks pretty good. And so for a while it was going to be, well, yeah, okay, I'll get that. I was working full time, but I would have had to wait and save for quite a period of time in order to be able to get one. As it got to sort of near Christmas, I'd gone in there to pick up some presents. My mum and dad had ordered some toys for my nieces, and I went in there to pick them up. And in there, they had a PlayStation that was running a demo in there. Didn't know much about the PlayStation, except it was coming out from Sony. And of course at that time, the sort of gamer snobbing me is going, what the hell does Sony know about games consoles? Like, I'm not getting a PlayStation. To me, that was like going to be in the same category as the 3DO. The Panasonic did the 3DO. They didn't really it didn't really work out. Sony are just going to do the same with PlayStation. Like, really? Did they not learn? But I remember watching this demo, and it had the rolling demo of Wipeout, Ridge Racer. Did I say Ridge Racer? If I said Ridge Racer for the Saturn, I meant Daytona. If I said Daytona, then I was right, and I'm not losing it. Anyway, Ridge Racer. And I can't remember what else. I think it might have been a game called Crazy Ivan. I'm not sure. But I remember being completely blown away by what I was seeing. I was far more impressed with the visuals and the sound on the PlayStation than I was the Saturn. Even at that time, what I did notice with the demo of Daytona running on the Saturn, there seemed to be a huge amount of like pop-in. Like the draw distance didn't seem very long. It just seemed that like huge chunks of the scenery were appearing from nowhere. What was in and around the car looked great. But it just overall, in the distance, just didn't seem, like the distance didn't seem as good. On the PlayStation, although it was still there, it didn't seem as pronounced. It didn't seem as bad. So, graphically, it just seemed a lot better. It was running great. And I was just so impressed by it. And I just thought, you know what? I think the PlayStation might be the thing I want. It was just the feeling. It was that urge, that feeling that I had. And I started playing this. And, well, I didn't start playing it. I just started watching the demo. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to need to have one of these instead. So I went away. And that was it. But it gets to Christmas time and it's like, well, okay, what would you like? And I sort of was a bit like, sort of cheekily just said, oh yeah, can I get a PlayStation? And over here in the UK, it was $299.99. It was in the price bracket, as it were. But I did need to put something towards it, you know. So time was moving on, and you know, I was working. I was getting those gifts when I was a kid because I wasn't working. I didn't have the means to be able to get those things, but I did now. So I put in towards it in order to be able to get it. But they were hard to get hold of. They were really hard to get hold of. And I'd rung around a few places that, we've not got any, you know, we won't be getting any till the new year, and I was gutted. Now, I never thought that this toy store would actually have many in stock. It was on a high street, it was busy, but it was a toy store. You know, the games section was in the corner. It wasn't an afterthought, but it was a corner. They carried very limited stock. You know, even of games, sometimes it could be difficult to find the game you wanted in there. So I thought, well, what the hell? I tried all the usual places, you know, your big high street chains, they didn't have any. And I phoned, and they had one left. I was like, please, will you hold it? And they were a bit reluctant. It's like, look, I'm on my way. Will you just put my name on it, put it behind the counter? And the woman on the phone, she's really nice. And because I'd gone in there and I'd been buying some games from there down the years, and of course, I picked up these Christmas presents a little while before. She knew who it was, so she said, right, okay, this is on a Saturday. And I think it was the Saturday before Christmas. She's like, right, okay, we'll put it on one side for you, but you're going to have to come within the hour. If you're not, we're going to have to offer it to somebody. So I was like, oh God, right. So, you know, dragging my dad down there, you know, busy Saturday before Christmas, so he's not impressed. We get down there and it's still there. Well, I got down there. It was the next town over. We won't talk about the kind of speeds I was getting up to driving there. But let's just say we lit the tyres, and we'll leave it at that. So get down there and get the console, and it was like, there's no games with it. It was just a demo. And of course I'd put some money towards it, so my dad goes, well, what games? You know, you need a couple of games. So I was like, I went to the shelf and immediately I saw Doom. And it was in like a double jewel case. It was a single disc, but it was in a double jewel case. And I'm looking at this. It was a no-brainer. I turn it over the back and it's got like, I'm looking at the graphics, and you can see the lighting and what have you. And then there was a football game called Striker. And I got that. Now, Lord alone knows why I didn't pick up Wipeout or Ridge Racer or Destruction Derby or Loaded. Mind you, they may not have been, some of them may not have actually been out at that time. Well, they only were because I did get them after Christmas. I did go out after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year. I got Wipeout, I got Destruction Derby, I got Loaded. So they must have been. Or am I misremembering and they were like a couple of months? Anyway, it's irrelevant to what I'm talking about. So we'll go out there, get back, and then I've got to wait a week. It's like the longest week ever, waiting till Christmas to be able to play these. And yeah, I remember coming down Christmas morning, tearing the paper off this thing, and sticking Doom in, and it was just amazing. It was an amazing experience. The thing that hit me, remember I played this on the 32X, that was my only real experience at that point of playing Doom. So I'm playing this thing and it's amazing. The lighting, the sound, you know, the size of it on the screen. And I'm just thinking, this is the greatest thing ever. And then in the menu, I'm playing around in the menu, and I didn't know this at the time. I just thought it was Doom. And it highlighted Doom, and I was like, strange, yeah, it's Doom. And then I sort of like moved right on the D-pad, Doom 2. He's like, are you kidding me? It's got Doom 2 in here as well. Well, that was it. I was just like, this is the greatest thing ever. So it felt like I got 2 games for the price of 1. You know, I hadn't even considered Doom 2. You know, I just wanted to play Doom. You know, Doom 2 is like out there with the fairies at this point, you know. And I played the Striker game, and that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. What was notable was it had play-by-play commentary by a guy called Andy Gray. Andy Gray did commentary on the Premier League football on Sky. So I remember being like, wow, like this is just like the real thing, you know? I was just blown away by it. And then, of course, going out there and getting the other games, the Destruction Derby. Absolutely love that game. So much fun. Wipeout, of course, which was the game that caught my eye. Like I say, God alone knows why I didn't choose it. Maybe it's because they didn't have it in stock at the time. But anyway, getting that. Then Ridge Racer. Loaded. It's a brilliant top-down shoot 'em up. Great soundtrack. Everything. I was just in absolute heaven. Really was. I loved it. The PlayStation still to this day will remain one of my all-time favourite consoles. It's no exaggeration to say it got me back into gaming, which it did. It was superb. Absolutely superb. And I enjoyed that console for many years, right up until the PlayStation 2. I never grew bored of it. My interest in the games never died off. It was great. It was brilliant. And then that was followed up, I got the PlayStation 2. When that come out for Christmas, and then for that one, we had to sign up we had to go on a list, a waiting list for this thing. And that was at Toys R Us. I remember going in well before Christmas and going on the list. And they would actually call you when it was ready. So they would be, it would be on a batch. They would come in, you'd be on that batch. And that was about a couple of weeks before Christmas. I got a call and it was ready. I was so excited for that. I remember getting Ready to Rumble. What did I get with that? Ready to Rumble? Oh, Jesus, I can't remember now. I remember getting that. What else did I get? What else did I get? Oh, God. Why can I only remember that? What else? I think there was a Formula 1 game. I think I got that for it as well. There was probably one or two others. It was a pack anyway. Jeez, I can't remember now. Anyway, loved it. It was just a natural successor to the PlayStation. Did what the PlayStation did, but better. And that was a worthy successor. Worthy successor. Many, many hours spent on the PS2. Some of my favourite games were on that. I remember playing Grand Theft Auto 3 for the first time. It was amazing. Just not being able to get my head around the fact that this was even possible, that type of world building and detail and depth. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And again, it was one of them I put to it, and like my mum and dad would make up the shortfall, but I would actually put to it. How am I doing battery wise? Oh lordy, we're getting down there. But yeah, I remember sort of being quite anxious being on this waiting list. Like, the sharp contrast was just going in and buying the PlayStation. You think it would be relatively stress-free because you've ordered it. It's like you paid a deposit for it. You tick the games that you wanted with it. So all you got to do is wait. But as the time's ticking by, and it's getting to a couple of weeks before Christmas, and you've not been notified it's ready, and you're like, what's going on? And of course, you get all of the stories of, well, it's going to be sold out this Christmas, there's going to be shortages, you're not going to be able to get one, and then you're thinking, like my brain works like, okay, so when we actually got it, I'm praying it works, because there's going to be no way you can swap it. You know, the stores are going to have none in stock whatsoever. So if this doesn't work, you're probably going to have to send it off to Sony, and that's going to take ages. But it did, it worked, thankfully. But I was just, yeah, I was completely blown away by it. It was a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant console. And I enjoyed it immensely. So, getting into the last one now on this. This has been a bit of a mammoth session for me, although it won't seem that way when you watch it back. And, well, because I've done 2 back-to-back here, I've really put the mileage in on this one. So, going right up to the last one in a series, and that was the PlayStation 4, the PS4. Again, it's sort of a similar setup. I put money to it. My parents made up the shortfall. So yeah, my parents made up the shortfall. I paid to it. What was weird about that, we ended up getting that one from Sainsbury's supermarket. And they were hard to get hold of. But again, we managed to get a pickup one from there. It was on order. It was reserved on order. And funnily enough, it's weird getting it from a supermarket. And we had to get that early. I had to go out, it was like 7 a.m. in the morning. And what I remember about this was that this was the time where my illness was starting to kick in. And I remember being in a not too considerable amount of pain. Hopped up a bit on painkillers. But we got it home, and I absolutely loved it. After the relative disappointment of the PS3, the PS4 was great. It was a brilliant console, and I really enjoyed playing on it. Not quite as much drama getting that as getting the PS1, or the anxious wait with the PS2. That was a relatively straightforward thing, even though they were in short supply. We'd done that early. I remember setting it up and playing on it and just being blown away. I got Killzone, Battlefield, I think a FIFA game with it. God, I can't remember. I do remember getting Killzone, Battlefield. Did I get Call of Duty with it as well? Doing Call of Duty Ghosts. I think I got that with it. But yeah, absolutely loving it. It was so good. Such a good console. It really was a considerable step up from the PS3 in all departments. Its functionality and what have you. It was great. I love it. Love the PS4. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's funny, isn't it? Like the more recent ones, there's not as much to talk about. as the older ones, I guess, because I suppose it's a reflection on how things have gone. As you get older, you still are excited. You know, you still like to feel alive and be excited and what have you, but at the same time, you know, there's also that whole thing of, like, I don't want to say world weariness. I think experience, when you're a kid, and a lot more of it is sort of unknown, in the sense that you don't really know what. Let's go back around this way. They're using leaf blowers over there. They're cleaning the bowling green that they don't use. Again, wonderful use of taxpayers' money. Blowing leaves off a bowling green that's not used this time of the year. It's amazing. I just love it. But yeah, absolutely amazing and experiences. And I think, like I say, when I was a kid, part of it is the unknown that's exciting. You don't play any part in the buying process. In the more recent ones, I was there, I was part of it. But when I was a kid, the VIC-20, the Commodore 64, I wasn't part of the process. You know, I didn't even know I was getting a computer with the VIC-20, and I suspected that I was with the C64, but there was nothing set in concrete. So there's that excitement of getting something that you're not expecting, or that you're not certain that you're going to get. You know, when you're actually there and actually out there while this thing's being bought, you know, because you're paying to it. It's not the fact that you're paying to it, it's just the fact that you know you're getting it. You've seen it before the event. You know what's in the box. You know what the other little things are as well. If you're getting games with it, you've been there, you've seen it. It's all part of the process. And that's the thing. It's almost like too much information these days. Everything is spoon-fed to you as a consumer, or, you know, the internet is a great resource for information, but it's almost like too much information. You know, and that sort of spoils it a little bit. Certainly does for me. You know, learning about systems for the first time, it's like a discovery. What can it do? What are these possibilities? What are these places can this take me? You know, what realms can I go into now that I couldn't before? And that, you know, amazing excitement that comes with it. So yeah, that wraps it up. I've been very lucky in my time. Been very, very fortunate. You know, and I'm well aware, very grateful, you know, from being introduced into the world of, you know, computing at a very early age. My parents having that foresight. You know, without that, I probably wouldn't have got into it as much. You can trace it all the way back to playing Space Invaders, but, you know, as a kid, I'd had no means to build on that hobby, and it would have just faded away. You know, it's my parents that gave me those opportunities. My sister buying games and buying a joystick, you know, stuff like that. All those little things that help along the way. My sister having a Commodore 64, you know, as she'd moved out at that point and going around and playing it. All of those things, you know, the little steps along the way. And I am fortunate, you know, as I look back doing this video, I'm very, very fortunate. And, you know, I'm very grateful for what I've had. So all that remains as I look at my battery, which is about to go, because it's not used to doing double episodes, all that's left is to wish you all a really Merry Christmas. If you get console or computer or whatever gaming thing you might get, enjoy it. I hope it's good. I hope you enjoy it. You know, if you get a Commodore 64 Ultimate, I hope it gets to you okay and you enjoy it. If you get the C64 Mini or the Amiga 500 Mini, I hope you enjoy it. If you get PS5, Xbox Series X, if you even like the PC, you know, if you're lucky enough to get that, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it all. And no matter what you get, even if you don't get that, or even you just get some games, even if you don't get anything to do with computers, have a good time and enjoy it. And I will see you all in the next one. So thank you for watching.